welcome to the Crochet Cakes YouTube channel for this week's Chaotic Crafty Makes video. Now, I know I'm not the only one that finds herself just, in the working zone when you're hit by a stray thought. So this week, as I was typing away on my lovely Lord of the Rings keyboard, which has beautiful sound, this thought popped into my head. I need a wrist rest. Why didn't I think of this before? I don't know. But of course, instead of spending $20 to $30 on Amazon for a wrist rest, I decided that I was going to spend $20 to $30 on craft supplies. Now that might be a little bit of a white lie, but let's spill the tea on this story. So, I was perusing Amazon, as one does when one is hit by stray, we need to spend money on something, thoughts. And I found this. It's beautiful cloud wrist rest. And I thought, I need that. I do. It's the perfect wrist rest. And then that led me to remember this. So my friend a while back sent me a reel with this strawberry stitch, which I know has been making the rounds. I know. But all of this brings us to this. Because yes, my friends, you are seeing correctly. This is lovely red yarn. The tone is completely off hue, but we'll work on that post-editing, or actually post-recording when we are editing. So we are gathered here today, my friends of the Crafty Round Table, to discuss how one might crochet a wrist rest. Yes, I am very aware that I could probably, or most likely 100% find patterns already written for a wrist rest, but why do that when we could just rack our brains with math and problems and figure it out ourselves? For this making a crochet wrist rest, we of course need the yarn, which we've already acquired without spending $20 to $30 on craft supplies, but I might be getting ahead of myself because we all know that we start a project working from stash and then we're like, oh, I don't have everything I need. So, but we have yarn. We have the red yarn for the strawberries. This is a DK weight, light DK weight, Crimson Heather. It is a blend of alpaca, wool, and silk, which I think will feel lovely and luxurious as I am typing away on crochet patterns. Okay, the other thing that we need to create this wrist rest is, of course, some measurements and the reel for, the reel, which will lead us to Google, which will lead us to YouTube to find a tutorial on the strawberry stitch, because even though I did watch a tutorial, I don't remember what I saw. So we're gonna need to refresh our brains with that. Now, in order to do this, let's measure our keyboard. Let's Google some information on the width of a wrist rest, because as I said, the length, that's gonna be measured from our keyboard. But the width, I think we're gonna need something that's definitely gonna be possibly 4 inches. And then we need to, we need to find out what we're gonna stuff it with. Now I'm thinking some foam. Some foam might be a good idea because it's sturdy enough yet soft enough, and by foam I mean like memory foam or crafty foam. And of course that does mean that we are going to need to head on over to Joann or Michael's at some point to purchase this foam. But we are getting ahead of ourselves. First, let's measure a keyboard and sketch out what we're gonna do. Okay, so we know the length is going to be 14 inches. Now, I'm just going to Amazon and check out the details on the cloud wrist rest that I shared with you at the beginning, and I'm going to make it about, the same depth or the same height that they say here. So I'm just going to pick one because they all look the same, to be honest. Yeah, this one sounds nice. Details, where are we with those details? Hello? Right, so it's 4.17 inches tall and it is 1.65 inches high. Okay, so we have our red yarn, we have our dimensions, and a very rough idea of what we're doing, basically a rectangle shape. So now we need to pick our contrasting green yarn for the little stems, leaves, stems, you know what I'm talking about. So stash diving, we go. Since I was having a hard time deciding what color of green I should pair with this red, I decided to employ a second opinion. So while I pondered which green yarn was the best choice, I decided to make myself a third cup of tea and just get hands-on into making the strawberry stitch to find which green color I liked best.
My sample will be in shade.
Okay, so now that I've just basically written out the instructions from the video tutorial in a way that my brain can understand it, and so I don't have to keep forwarding and pausing the video tutorial. Okay, so I actually struggle following video tutorials. Like, I get anxious and I'm always forwarding and pausing, and that this is just makes me anxious, which is why I actually struggle to make video tutorials. And I always find your comments helpful, you know, as long as you're being nice and kind. I know that I tend to speak quickly in my tutorials, and that is the reason why I'm just like working at a speed that my brain can understand. Anyway, all that to say that I wrote out the instructions, as you saw, for the strawberry stitch. I ended up going with the Nastasia video tutorial just because she only uses one stitch per row. I'm sorry, just because she only uses one color per row. They were both good tutorials, and it's amazing how you can create the same kind of looking strawberry stitch using two different sets of instructions. Just goes to show you there's amazing ways of creating things with just simple stitches, and sometimes all you need to do is a little variety in them. Anyway, I'm actually going to get started in making my strawberry stitch wrist rest. Let's go. So actually, we can't crochet. We need to wind this up. And my ball winder broke. So do I load it up on my Swift and wind the ball by hand? Or do I wait for tomorrow when I can get my Swift? Hello darkness, my old friend. This is me saying, this is fine. I still have a Swift. I can wind my yarn. In fact, I could not wind the yarn by hand. God, I wish it was that fast actually. Time lapse. Ah! We have a ball winder. We can now proceed with work. This dishy from We Crochet is going to be great for the back. Might combine it with this more of a sagey green, but again for the back, because for the front I'm actually going to use this sport weight wool, which I think matches very well. Alas, dear friends, my crochet efforts were in vain because my foundation chain was way too tight and we got a U. So what I'm going to do is, because I don't want to redo the foundation chain, I am actually just going to rip it all back to the foundation chain and then switch to a 3.25mm crochet hook for the actual strawberries. After walking around through the whole store, finally made it to the section that I was coming to. But it is not my fault because I'm being distracted by that sign and that. Update. So as you saw, we ripped back and we started all again. That took a bit, honestly, to want to work up because I was so thrilled that the strawberry stitch was working up so fast and we were going to finish very quickly. That didn't happen. But we did go to the craft store and we did source our foam. So where are we at now? Well, currently I have 3 inches of strawberry stitch and it is curving inward. Again, it is curving inward, just not as excessively as when I did the whole thing in 3.5. So perhaps when you do your chains, make sure you chain loosely, and if you, like me, don't chain loosely, then I would suggest going up to a 3.75 hook if you are going to be using a 3.25 to work up your strawberries. So hindsight, the 3.25mm hook to work up the strawberries was a really good thing because it makes the stitches pop out a lot more. And I got foam. Now I'm not too happy with this foam because it's squishy. It's just very squishy, and I think for a wrist rest you want something that's not as squishy. So this is 1 inch thick as well. The funny thing is that after I went and purchased this foam, my husband's like, oh, I found these in the garage. So I could have saved myself the $2 I spent. Well, I didn't really spend $2 because of course I went and just bought a lot of yarn that was on clearance, so there is that. But anyway, let's keep crocheting until we get to 4 inches of strawberry stitches. And then I guess this is too mushy and this is less mushy. Which one's mushier? I think they're about the same type of mush. So I think what I might do is actually fold this guy in half and then glue that together and also add some stuffing so I can really make the wrist rest as sturdy as possible and also help the strawberry stitches pop out. Nothing left except to actually work and finish. Oh, and crochet the back, for which I found Honeydew. This is a We Crochet worsted weight cotton and it's the color Honeydew. I don't know if they still do this color, but I think it goes really well with the green. So yeah, nothing to it. Let's just keep working. Solving the which foam to use dilemma. According to PC Mag, your wrist rest should be several inches higher than your keyboard. So my keyboard is 0.75 inches tall, and well, actually, that is a lie. I'm assuming they're measuring the keyboard from the bottom all the way up to the height of the keys. So that would be about 1.25 inches. So I'm gonna go with my 1 inch wrist rest, and actually it felt comfortable while I was using it. I guess if my fingers are supposed to be pointing down, I should probably add the other foam. Let's see how that feels. It felt very weird to type with my keys being so high up, but I think that for the final test, what I'm going to do is cut down the foam pieces to size and then test it out. So for the back of the wrist rest, I used the same size of hook that I was using for the strawberry stitch. So that was a 3.25 millimeter crochet hook, and then I just did foundation single crochet until I reached the width that I needed, which again, I just took that piece and held it up against the foam, curved it up against the sides a little bit because I knew that the strawberry stitch would stretch. So I think this was about 14 stitches, and I'm using 100% cotton here. And this one is the color Honeydew from Dishy. But as you're gonna see a little bit later in the video, this was not enough yarn to complete. So then I chose Comfy Color Mist, also by We Crochet, and it is also a worsted weight cotton. It's just a cotton blend yarn. Yeah, so just gonna keep doing single crochets until this piece reaches the length that I want. So I had to pause this vlog filming to commemorate the fact that my mug, my blouse, and our project all match. Unintentional coordination. I just wanted to share a little tip with you guys, and that is that when you're working single crochet, if you don't want your ends or your beginnings to look jagged, what we're going to be doing is that we are actually going to be working into the chain one of the single crochet, or you could do a decrease over the stitch and the actual chain one. So after I've switched my yarn, I'm going to show you this technique. Okay, so here we see that this would be the single crochet and this is the chain one space. So I'm going into my chain one space and I'm actually completing a single crochet. And what this does is that it gives us very neat edges and beginnings for our work. And we can compare the bottom where we kind of see a little bit of a staircase effect where I didn't do this. And that was on purpose. I wanted to share the difference. So after I finished the length of the piece that I wanted, I just did single crochet all around the piece, working 2 single crochet stitches in each of the corners because I wanted this piece to be easy to sew to the strawberry stitch, and the strawberry stitch at the top and at the bottom I would be connecting to stitches, so it makes the seaming a lot neater. My foam piece ended up being a little bit short in length, so I just cut the piece that was missing from the rest of the foam and I am going to add it here. Now I purposely made my little crochet rectangle a little bit smaller because my crochet is going to stretch lengthwise. So right now, the moment of truth, we are going to fit it all together, and I'm just simply going to whip stitch this together. You can choose to join it however you want. I just think the whip stitch is simple, effective, and quickish, I guess, although this did take an eternity, so I cannot attest to the speed of the whip stitch. And there you have it, my crafty friends, a completed crochet wrist rest. It was low effort in the sense that it was very easy to work up while you were doing other things. The strawberry stitch, once you have it all memorized, it's really quite simple, and it produces such a beautiful, lovely texture, as you can see. I loved using my wool alpaca yarns for this because it feels like a luxurious, silky wrist rest. It doesn't feel cumbersome, and the fabric is just lovely. And for the back, we used cotton yarns, just leftover cotton yarns that I had. They were both from We Crochet. This honeydew one is dishy, and then the kind of white with green speckled yarn is called Inchworm or Glowworm. It's part of their Comfy Color Mist blend. And yeah, the rest of the process you guys already saw. So let's talk what I liked about this, what I didn't like about this. As I mentioned, I absolutely love the fabric that the alpaca yarn produced. I'm actually not sure what type of alpaca blend this is, but I'll put it in the description box below because I do think I left the ball band somewhere. And I think the green matches perfectly with my keyboard, which is, of course, the intention, trying to create a setup that I very much enjoy working on and that I very much enjoy looking at. So things that I would change for this, it would definitely be that instead of just whip stitching it, to actually crochet a bit of a wider back so that I could have inserted a zipper, and then it's just easy to take on and off in case I ever need to wash it or replace the foam that is inside. In terms of foam width, I'm very happy with it. This is a 1-inch foam. In terms of usability, it's usable. I like it. I like it very much. What I'm not sure I like is using an actual wrist rest. And while I was working on this project, I did do some research, and there are various articles on whether or not you should use wrist rests, how you should use wrist rests. So I'll leave that for you to look up and for you to, use your own judgment. If you do use a wrist rest, let me know in the comment section down below. Which one do you use? Do you like it? Do you find that it helps with your wrist pains? Because I was reading that you're not actually supposed to rest your wrist on it. So in fact, you're just supposed to like rest this bottom palm of your hand when you are not typing, and that your typing should be like, and that your fingers should kind of like be floating on the keyboard. So while some of the articles I found were pro wrist rests and some of them were against the use of wrist rests, I like the one I made. I think it adds a lot to my desk, and even if I don't actively use it, it's a brilliant decor piece, I think, and it kind of helps complete my desk setup. So let me know in the comment section down below if you would consider making your own wrist rest. Would you do like I do? Would you crochet it? Would you actually just work in the round instead of seaming it? Would you just not crochet it or knit it at all and actually prefer to sew a cover for your foam wrist rest? Or would you just go to Amazon and buy the really cute cloud one that kind of inspired this whole venture to begin with? So let me know, and don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. If you're subscribed, thank you so much for joining me for another crafty video. If you are not subscribed and you would like to, then go ahead, please hit that subscribe button, and I will see you soon with another crafty related video. Happy crafting!